Hey music fans, as a roadie I had this great opportunity to tour with all these bands. I wrote a book about my experiences on the road and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios and it's now sold millions of copies on Kindle. I'm Joel Roadie and this is my podcast, Party Like a Rock Star. I'm going to jump into a SABATON track that they released more recently. It's a track by the name of 1916, and I think you're going to really dig this.
Well, that's World War I, so yeah.
This episode features my friend Kyle Talcher. Kyle's a bro. He was the frontman of an influential nardcore band out of Oxnard, California here by the name of Dr. No. If you've never heard of him, influential's cool, and that Kurt Cobain was a fan. You guys can check it out in this photo here from when he was, I think it said 18 years old, but look at the poster on the wall. Look at the other one too. I love some Black Flag. I hope you guys do too. Anyway, what Kyle's been up to since then. So Kyle wrote a track called Mr. Freeze. It was covered by Slayer. That led him on to some other ventures. He'll explain in one of these episodes. But he became a visual effects artist. He's been nominated for 8 Emmys. He's won 2 Emmys. Those were for Firefly and Battlestar Galactica. He just recently worked on Top Gun in the visual effects department. More recent than that, what he actually started up here during COVID was writing. And so I have one of his books here, Live Wire. It was a present from him for my birthday last year. It was real cool. I appreciated it. You can read more about Kyle. You can check out his other books and see what he's up to always at kyletalcher.com. You can find his books also on amazon.com and enjoy. Also want to throw a thank you, a shout out to the people at Cream Magazine. They sent me their newest issue. You can go to cream.com and you can subscribe to the magazine yourself. If you don't think Cream's cool, you're not cool. It's great that we got some publications back, I think. I think it's neat. So anyway, let's jump into this episode here with Kyle and see what he has to say. Let's give it a go.
You know, what's great, though, is to see that, large-scale rock and roll is still very much alive, because it's, you feel almost that it's dead in the United States because, media is not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it isn't there because it always is there and it's not going away. And I don't want people to get discouraged that they think even American rock and roll or wherever is on life support, because actually it isn't. Go to Instagram and watch some 12-year-old burn a Van Halen tune,
Yeah.
and you'll know that it's still very much here. But I hope that there's still kids putting bands together in garages and suffering in vans and playing in clubs and, It was different when we did it because there was no internet, but that was the Stone Age. So.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into 1916. You actually do know this track, even though you don't know it. So let's jump into this. All right, let's give it a go.
Old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes. God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to 0. And I marched and I fought and I bled and I died, and I never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier. And we added 2 years to our ages, eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. shoulder to shoulder. Our thirst for the run, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers.
How cool do those string instruments sound?
There's a lot to like there. There's the song itself is absolutely epic in the way it's performed, the way it's sung, and the band isn't making it about themselves. You know, it's about the history of warfare. You see Roman legionnaires, you know, like Leonidas was walking with the doughboys from World War One and the American revolutionaries with their it was and the real honest to God filmmaking going on there too. That was
Yeah.
awesome. That was a great piece. Now, was this a cover of a Motorhead tune, or is this based on something Lemmy had written?
I believe it's a cover of the Motorhead tune, but
Okay, okay. Well, it's been reworked and rearranged, and
oh yeah, heavily.
yeah, the other two Motorhead members, yeah, obviously, because the song itself is only about 328, but then we hear the song again played morosely, you know, on cello, almost like an adagio, and the imagery, the VFX, the fact, you know, planes from different eras are going by, and I God, if you're gonna listen to history rock, you know, listen to that. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, they honestly, I think they do the history rock thing better than Iron Maiden does, and that's saying something because they were, you know, there was a bread and butter for a while. You know, Rime of the Ancient Mariner and you know Aces High and all that kind of stuff, which are great, you know. But there's a real that thing hit a real emotional note. I think they did a great job with that. How old is that?
Oh, it's not old. This is actually a recent release.
Well, it's great job, and they shot it in Birmingham, you know,
Birmingham,
and
indeed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Birmingham, you know, which is, you know, the mother of metal. That's the place that gave us all those bands, you know,
Yeah.
Sabbath, Motorhead,
Sabbath.
and Priest. I think Iron Maiden's from there too, I think, you
Yeah.
know, but a lot of metal came out of that industrial, you know, place, you know, and not only the Peaky Blinders came out of Birmingham, you know, and I thought that was, I have nothing you know, snarky or anything to say about that. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well done. I think that singer is really strong.
Cool.
So yeah,
Cool.
they sounded great. Yeah, I would watch that. I'd watch that again. Fact, I'm probably going to show it to Andrea. So she needs to
Okay,
see it.
sweet.
Yeah. Plus, you know, right now too, because they're trying to. It just shows that the people who run this planet want all of us dead because they want us to go do that for them. It's not for you. It's not for your country. It's not for the. It's for the bits. It's for the cartels that run this planet. You know, and that's where they send us. That's the amount of disrespect they have for us. Is they expect us to do that for them. So next time a war comes around, next time they give one, don't go.
Question random a little bit, not off topic a little bit. Did you ever see Slayer play your song?
You know, I never did see them, and there's I had an opportunity to go see them in Ventura, but the night before that, a couple of friends of mine, we had one of the most insane alcoholic shenanigans experience ever, and I had a severe alcohol poisoning the next day. We went through what's, you know, we were drinking beers and Jägermeister and all this shit because this was 1990 something, and we had like three passes, and I think this might even been before they covered Freeze, I think, because I was 95. 96, maybe. And I listened to the recording of it. They got the lyrics wrong, but you know, whatever. And but it was very nice of Hanneman, of Jeff Hanneman to do that. And I met Kerry King eventually. I have told you the story when
You
we
know
met
what?
him at a
I know
Morton's.
it. You're welcome to
Yeah,
share it because I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. So eventually, I met a Morton's in Anaheim. Morton's is a steakhouse. For those who don't know, you get a home of the $80 porterhouse, right? That kind of thing. So we're at the the NAMM show in Anaheim. And we walk in there and it's packed. It's just chock full of rock and roll in this steakhouse. It's awesome. So it's maybe 2012, maybe 2013. So Andre and I walk in there and I see Kerry King there. And I said, "Oh my God, that's Kerry King. I've never been able to meet anybody in Slayer and thank them for covering Mr. Freeze." The back end of that story is that they covered Mr. Freeze. They gave me an advance of money, and at the time I was very broke. That money allowed me to buy the gear I needed in order to uh, learn the software and everything that launched my visual effects career, which resulted in Emmys in my living room and all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So he needed to know that because the connection is just too bizarre, right? So one of the biggest metal bands in the world covers a punk tune I wrote in my 20s, which leads to my visual effects career, which gets me an Emmy for Galactica and Firefly.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, you know, you can't make that shit up. So anyway, so she goes up to Kerry King, says, "Hey," and he thinks he's a groupie, and he blows her off. And she goes, "No, no, 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 no." She goes, Kyle Toucher from Dr. No? And I guess he was a little flip with her. He goes, "Yeah, whatever." I go, "Well, he's over there." And he never said thank you for Mr. Freeze. She goes, "Oh, send him over." He comes over. We hit it off immediately. We're taking pictures, flipping off the camera, all that stuff. And so I tell him that story, essentially. And he goes, "That's the most insane thing I've ever heard." He goes, "That's," I go, "Yeah." I go, "You're not going to believe that." I go, "There's a direct connection between you covering that song and what I'm doing right now." He goes, "Dude, that's awesome." I go, "Now I have to confess a sin." I go, "I've never seen you guys live." He goes, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, fair enough, Mr. King. Well, what exactly is wrong with me?" He goes, "Well, you let us know." I go, "Because next time we play NOLA, you guys just come and it'll be awesome." So we never took him up on the offer, and Slayer retired from playing. But it was Hanneman, it was Jeff that wanted to make that punk record because he was all into that. He was into verbal abuse. And he was a Dr. No fan, and as was Cobain, and and all that other stuff. So I mean, look, we might not have sold any records, but other bands liked us. So
yeah, man, super cool stuff.
Which was awesome. So yeah, one of these days maybe I can get Kerry King copy my book, and we can have something to read on the road. But it was a really cool story. So, have I ever seen any live footage of Slayer playing Mr. Freeze? No. So, Does that exist?
It does, actually. I did find one.
Are you going to show me that now?
Okay, let's jump into it. Why not? All right, sure. Let's pull it up.
That sounded like the setup for it. So
there wasn't actually a setup, but I'll find it here and we'll do it right now. Let's give it a go.
All right.
Hey, the podcast is over. What are you still doing here? Well, while you're here, like and subscribe. Thanks.